Hi people, welcome to KatsIntuition. I'm Krystal and today I wanted to do this flip through of the Medieval Kat Tarot. I just purchased this and I am so excited to get into it. I did briefly flip through it to get the gist of the cards. I really want to go deeper into this. So anyways, this is what it comes. I don't believe this comes in a big box set. So it came in this tuck box. It says it's by Lawrence Ting. I guess I'll go ahead and read this to you. It says, "The glory of felines is celebrated with Renaissance flair. Ting has created an ornate deck that blends classical and contemporary ideologies and artistic styles. With booklet text by Gina M. Pace, Medieval Kat Tarot is a beautifully aristocratic deck with a humorous twist." Here is the back. It is a US Games published deck. It is a 78 card deck, so there's no extras. I'm excited. Let's get into it. So this is a pip deck, but not insanely crazy pip, and I will show you what I mean. I just was looking at my Alice in Wonderland deck, and if you have that deck or if you have seen pictures, you know what I mean when I say an extreme pip deck, because that is definitely an extreme pip deck. So let me get a deck to compare size with. Okay, so I just grabbed really quickly another US Games published tarot deck so that we could compare the deck size in a moment here, because these cards are a more slender deck and I love it. It's the only deck I have that is this, or that has these dimensions. So here is the title card. Here are the backs, and this can be completely reversible because each row, it is very hard to see. I don't know if it'll even, there we go. So each row is facing a different way. So all of this row, it has like what looks to be a little cat, like an abstract drawing of a cat inside of this. It's like a teardrop almost. So the points are facing up, like if they were cat ears on this one, and then on this row, they're upside down. So each row is upside down and upright, upside down and upright. So I feel like for those of you who read reversals, this deck has you covered in that sense. I don't read reversals, so for me, that is not an issue. First, let's look at the booklet that it comes with. It is just a very, very basic little white book. So here we have the introduction, and how about I just go ahead and read this and we get a really thorough look at this deck. The tarot is a deck of 78 cards used for many years to help people answer some of their deepest questions about life. Historically speaking, the tarot has moved through many evolutions, including a playing card game, a form of flashcards to teach values, and more familiarly, as a fortune-telling device. Now, in the 21st century, it has grown to become more of a tool for transformation, allowing people greater control for more enlightened decision-making. Medieval Kat Tarot marries rich esoteric symbolism with truly wonderful artistic styling and expression. While there is a definite theme to the illustrations on the cards, this is not merely a collector's deck, and I completely agree. This is not just a deck to sit on your shelf because you can't read pips or anything like that. This is just from what I saw, because I wasn't even home when I looked at it. I was in the car, I flipped through them, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm gonna love this deck, but I had to get going. I can't wait to really deep dive into this, and I think I'm going to, along with the Alice in Wonderland Tarot, I'm going to do a deck study on that, and I want to do a deep dive into this deck as well. Because of what I saw of the pips, I thought it was really cool. So no, this is not just merely a collector's item to sit on your shelf if you're afraid of pip decks. This could actually be one that you can read. So, I'm sorry, where was I? Each card's meaning is rendered in a heartfelt but simple way so that anyone can appreciate and understand it. One need only seek to identify with the players in the drama acted out on each card. The characters on each card are shown either in the act or participating in behavior and situations which describe the truest meanings of the card as it is understood in a more universal way based upon Golden Dawn symbolism as interpreted by A.E. Waite. However, instead of drowning the reader with massive amounts of redundant symbols, one coherent image is used to create a feeling of association with the card itself. One might look at a character on a card, understand what he or she is doing, and say, "That is how I feel. I know what the card means to me." Some of the first tarot decks did not include numerology, symbols, or a numbering system in the major arcana. I have chosen that same omission for Medieval Kat Tarot, as there is some interchangeability with a few of the majors, most often strength and justice. Sometimes those will flip-flop between decks, number-wise. This allows the reader to use the card at his or her discretion. The most special feature of the Medieval Kat Tarot is its completely original system of court cards. More readers struggle to understand the tarot court than any other part of the deck. In Medieval Kat Tarot, the symbolism changes from card to card to amply demonstrate how this set of 16 cards can, in fact, be some of the most powerful cards in the deck in terms of helping the reader to ascertain the state and growth patterns of the querent. Reverse meanings are not included in the card descriptions for this deck. I feel this maintains the more traditional method of reading the cards. However, the symmetrical card back allows the reader to choose to incorporate his or her own reverse interpretations if desired. So for me, that is definitely not an issue. Let me know if you feel like that's an issue for you, that there's not a reversed meaning in the card. I feel like even if I wanted to start reading reversals, I don't think that I would need it laid out in the book for me, based on the way that I know that I read, but let me know. This may be your first deck, or it may be one of many you have purchased over the years. Either way, your journey with the Medieval Kat Tarot promises to be rich and fulfilling. So then we get straight into the deck meanings, and this is how it has it laid out. There are no pictures in this book. It is very, very thin. And here we have the Fool, the Magician, and as you see, it is only written up. It's not like a description, and then it doesn't have a place for insight or definition of the card or keywords. There are no keywords, just a write-up. So it does that for and you can't really say that it's one page per. It's just however much room they needed, they took. So here are the majors, and let's see how they have the minors set up. Okay, so here is where it gets different from other decks. Once we get into, and I'm seeing all of this for the first time, this part I have not gone over at all, but it seems like they're just going to put the courts, like all the courts, and then, yeah, all the knights. Ooh. Oh, mine has been cut off. Can you see that? The words are cut off. So it's like the text is moved too far. Hopefully it didn't actually cut off like multiple words or anything. Okay, so here we're getting into the minor arcana. So it talks about court cards, which we'll go over, and then it has pages, so what the pages of the suits are, and it gives you the Page of Wands, Page of Swords, Page of Cups, and Page of Coins, and then it goes into the knights. So that's interesting. I wonder if they have it set up that way in the deck. So let's pause there and take a look at that. Here is the title card. This kind of looks like a judgment type depiction, doesn't it? And then we have the like a write-up about the deck. So let's start by going through them, and we will we'll go from there. So here's the Fool. Okay, so you know the feels that this deck is giving me is the medieval Scapini deck. I don't know why it's not copying the picture or the scene at all for some reason. I don't know. It's just maybe because I don't have any decks in my collection to compare this to. This is the most vintagey styled deck, and I've seen the medieval Scapini online. I don't have it, well, obviously. And so yeah, it's just where my mind goes, because it definitely has that very vintage feel and look to it. So let's see what the guidebook tells us for the majors, so you get an idea. I feel like my voice is wearing out. So, the Fool. So it says, our journey begins with the Fool, youthful in outlook. Though not necessarily in years, the Fool is symbolic of a fresh new perspective and the ability to take life on its own merits. He is without preconceived expectations of what is owed to him or what he is supposed to be having or doing. When viewing the Fool, we see there is a cliff ahead, and we must ask ourselves if the risk is that of real danger, or is it the risk of being trapped in our own fears and never stepping out into the unknown? We see that the Fool travels lightly. He does not even carry a backpack. He accepts that life will bring him what he needs when he needs it, or else he will be guided to find it, even in regards to his own sustenance. The promise of a new day dawns ahead. And when the Fool comes up in a reading, we must prepare ourselves for anything. This means asking ourselves whether we are holding ourselves back from accepting any possibilities that are available to us, or perhaps taking unnecessary risks. The one thing we do not leave behind when seeing the Fool in a reading is personal responsibility for our own actions. We may be lighthearted and not bogged down by unhappiness, but we cannot simply walk away from those people and things that truly deserve our attention. So see, that gives a great, I feel, description of an explanation of what's going on in the Fool without giving us keywords. So I won't read that for every card. I just wanted to give you an idea and give you a feel of what they offer in their write-up. So that was the Fool. I like how the background is like watermarked almost with the backing of the card. And we have the sun shining down on his path ahead and some simple clouds in the back. Now, if we notice, we don't have a little companion down here holding him back at all, but he does seem to be looking back as like he's distracted, and his clothes are way too big, so it's like he just grabbed whatever he saw in his way and he went. The Magician, very typical, standing here in front of his table with all of his resources. We have the cups, coins, swords, and his wand. He is very finely dressed. And again, so it seems like all the backgrounds are going to have that watermark of the back. And I always like to touch on borders because I know so many people detest borders. I have never minded them at all. Oh, and we do have a copyright here. Would you trim these borders down or would you keep them? I'd like to hear from those who do not like borders. Let's see. So yeah, it looks like if you trimmed off the borders, using the back of the card, you would be cutting off right at the points of each of those right there. So it wouldn't cut into any of the image on the front of the card. So that's good if you wanted to cut these, but I leave mine alone. So this is the Popess instead of the High Priestess. We have the pomegranates here, but we don't see those two columns like we usually do. Oh, I was going to show you the size difference. Okay, so it being thinner, I guess, just gives off the illusion that it's going to be taller than a standard tarot card, but it isn't. It is the same height as a standard card, but it is thinner, and you can see by how much. So this card with borders can fit inside of this picture here, minus the borders. See? And I like that she has her book of knowledge here, or secrets. Here we have our Empress, and we have two children here and there with her. Usually we don't see children. This one has a staff, and this one has like a shield. It almost looks like they were playing, and she was like, yeah, stop, chill out. And here is our Emperor. I usually like to put them together just so you can see them together. And he is very finely dressed. We can see his throne in the background. He is looking out as if to look out at his people. Here we have the Hierophant, or the Pope, in this deck. We don't have depicted like the people kneeling before him, but he does look very stately with his staff here and his high Pope-esque hat and his robe. Here we have the Lover's card. I like this Lover's card. It just feels sweet. Our little angel up here has a blindfold on him, along with his bow and arrow. Next we have the Chariot. Very nice. He looks very determined. Justice. I love it. These are some very serious cats. So they're not depicted, even though they are cats, they are not depicted as silly. Has both her scales here and a sword. Our Hermit card. I like this card. Got this little owl up there. Maybe that could represent knowledge, insight. Very nice. I liked this deck, obviously, seeing pictures of it, which is why I bought it, or actually why I wanted it. My mother gifted me this deck. Thank you, Mother, if you're watching. But I wasn't expecting to just be taken by this deck so much. I am a cat person, so I automatically love that it has to do with cats, but I just like the seriousness of the deck, even though they are cats. Here, the Wheel of Fortune. I absolutely love how this is depicted. He looks like the Emperor up there. He looks like what was depicted by the Emperor. But I love each of their facial expressions and how much of the intuitive hits that you're going to be able to get with this deck. There we go. I mean, with this card. I'm sorry, my family is yelling in the next room. Happy yells. They're playing hide and seek. I like that our little center guy here is blindfolded. I like that he looks like he is so in distress down here. And it really goes to show, at least the way I read the Wheel of Fortune, you got to go with those ups and downs. Don't get stuck down here. You need to ride that wheel back up so you can have those good days again. I just think it's depicted so well in such a simple way. There isn't a lot going on. For instance, like this deck, for example, since I have it here, there's so much going on in these cards. And I just feel like they kind of said they didn't want to overwhelm you with so much imagery. That's what the little write-up said. I kind of had to pause because they were getting kind of loud and rowdy, loudy in their game of hide and seek. Here we have strength. So I feel like this is really looking back at the more vintagey cards where it's, at least you don't get inner strength from this purely. You get that she is totally dominating that lion. But yeah. The Hanged Man. Very different. I like this too than the traditional, him just hanging straight down with one knee bent, but it totally shows how he can let himself down if he wants. He's literally holding on to a handle. I mean, and his foot is not heavily tied. So, very nice. I love this death card. I just love it. Look at the beautiful scythe here. How it dramatically comes all the way around. I wish it would focus a little better, but he is actually a skeleton. I love the moths or the butterflies. There, it's focused. Can you see the face? That skeletal face. Oh, and that hand. I am in love with this card. I am really, like I said, I obviously liked the deck or I wouldn't have asked for it, right? But I'm in love with it. I am. So here we have Temperance. I love when they keep certain elements of cards that we're used to seeing. Personally, I just really like that. Because it's completely different, and yet we have those same aspects, and that is what I love. Pouring from one container to the next, or one vase to the next. I love that with her delicate wings. And again, they are so serious. Now here the devil. He looks like a wolf, right? Not a cat. And when I quickly flipped through that, I was like, what? But I didn't have time to really stop. And now, upon looking at it, look at the mask. If you look at the mask is of a cat face. So brilliant putting this in as the devil card. I really appreciated that. I thought that was so brilliant. I just really like the thought that they put into this card because I feel like it's minimal and yet so powerful. I mean, that devil card was powerful, right? I would love to know your thoughts. Am I just the only one geeking out about this deck, or do you feel the same way? Look at this Tower card. I love the depiction of it being destroyed here. We have the typical imagery of people coming out of it, the top being knocked off, and the flames. And I love the detail to the bottom of the card. All those pretty little shrubberies. Just a pretty card. Here we have the Star. Again, her by the water. I love it. Again, with their serious faces. And so nicely dressed. I love all their headpieces and things like that. I have another cat deck. Well, technically two, I guess. My OG deck, my heart deck, my soul deck, my first deck I ever had back when I was 15 that I started reading with since then is the Tarot of the Cat People. Now, they are not cats, but they have cats in every card. It is their companion, so I guess that would be considered a cat deck. And then I have the Soul Cats, and I really love that, but they are just depicted as cats, not dressed as this one is. So I like the diversity in my cat decks. Also, though, this deck here, it has a cat in every card, but I would not say that this deck is considered a cat deck. But I love that it has a cat in each card, and the cat is doing its own thing in each card. I just love it. He's got such personality. In some, he's like spiked up and scared, or he's being playful, like in that one card he was playing with the little ball. So anyways, okay, so here we have the moon, very pretty. She's like solemnly contemplating what's going on. We have some I was gonna say teardrops, but we have some water drops falling behind her. Very pretty. It looks like a tail, doesn't it? I just think of a tail of some kind of sea beast. That's where my brain is going. I know that that's not what it is supposed to be, but that's what I see. And here we have the sun. I really like this sun card because he is not depicted as a kitten. I personally don't like the child on the horse depiction of the sun. I like how they drew the flames around the sun. Instead of just beams, like lines shooting out. I really like that. I like their way of depicting, I guess, what would this be? Clouds underneath the sun here. And they're in this huge garden of sunflowers. I really like it. I really appreciate the art in this deck. Here is Judgment. Now in this one you can see that they're coming out of something, but you can't really get the full feel of like a coffin or a casket or anything like that. But yep, I love it. Oh, that is the Judgment. Where did I see him? Was he on the back? No. Oh, he was on the title card. Yep, I said it felt like a Judgment card, and it totally is. Okay. Oh, that is pretty. This is such a pretty world card. Should focus so you guys could see how pretty it was. Okay, why? There. So we kind of have this, it looks like a globe, like a snow globe. That's the feel I get. We have the sun up here and we have the moon down here. So everything in sync, the flow of things, the cycle of things. I love it. And this could be like where they live, where all these royal cats live in this little kingdom. I really like that. And he's holding his trumpet and the crown. All right, so now we get into the minors, and let's see. Oh, okay, so yeah, so they have it set up to where all the pages are first. Okay, so let's take a look. So we have the Page of Wands, and he's holding up his wands, and there's the element of wands, which is fire. That's nice. He should be dressed in red, but he's got the red inside of his cloak. Oh, see, like him. They should swap outfits. So here's the Page of Swords, and our element is air, and he's holding a kite. You see what I mean? Brilliant. That is, I mean, it could have been like a cloud with like the depiction of wind, but no, they went with a kite to sell that idea, to bring that in. I absolutely love it. So he's looking up in his serious way at his kite. He's having fun, but he doesn't want to show it. And, oh, our Page of Cups dressed in blue. Yes. Okay, see what I'm talking about the detail? Although I wish that these two would swap outfits. At least the inside is red, I guess. But, yeah, the Page of Cups. And he dropped some bit of his water that is completely full there, but I love it. It's like he filled it to the top to study what's inside of that, because, you know, our pages are our studious ones of the deck. Oh, look, the Page of Coins. Yes, because our element for coins or pentacles is earth. And what does he have? He has a little flower pot that it looks like he brought his little flower pot out outside with him to collect some specimens to study. I absolutely love this so much. I'm in all over this deck. I would love to hear your opinions, because I feel kind of silly. I feel like I am really geeking out. I don't have any tarot friends. I go and read at this metaphysical shop, and I absolutely love being there because I can geek out and talk tarot with them there. But in the times in between, I can't. So yes, my husband is a very supportive husband. He will sit there and listen to me go on and on about my decks. But, it's different when somebody who is also passionate about it and they can give you feedback, or they can say, I don't really agree. I feel this way. Or, you know what I mean? So anyways, I wanted to lay the pages out for you to see here. I feel like we're moving too far over here. Is that more? Is that better? Okay. So let's get into this. I feel like I need to calm down. Like I'm getting way too excited about this deck. Okay, so it says court cards. The court cards in this deck are created to portray a series of moments of personal growth within the querent or the reader. When we see a court card come up in a reading, we must examine how it shows where we are within a specific pattern of growth in our lives. If we look at the progression of the cards within a specific suit, page to knight to queen to king, as different stages in growth along the specific area covered by the suit, we can begin to understand that court cards can have a very different and very helpful impact upon our reading. Do you see? That's what I'm talking about. Do you see the powerful information that they are giving us here, especially if you are a beginner? This deck is, I think, amazing. If you do not like, now I haven't gotten into the rest of the minors yet, but I just already love this deck, and I really feel like if you do not like the typical Rider-Waite deck, which I never did, I do not own a Rider-Waite deck. I think the closest thing I have are the Rider-Waite inspired decks, like this one. It's completely different, but it closely follows the Rider-Waite system or pictures. Does that make sense? So anyways, bad with words. That's what I'm saying. So I don't have an actual Rider-Waite deck. But I feel like if you do not like or want a Rider-Waite deck, you don't resonate with the art, and you like cats and you like this whole vintagey look, I think that this is a great deck for you. And just because this is a little white book, I feel like you're not lacking in information. This is great. I'm really impressed with the creators of this deck. So pages. So we covered court cards. From page to king, and now it's getting into just the pages specifically. So the pages refer to beginning stages of personal growth. A page represents the moment you have made a decision or stepped onto a path of new direction and are just readying yourself for the undertaking you are about to commit yourself to. And I feel like they did a great job at portraying this, So here, for instance, with the Page of Wands, he is coming out here. He is taking the first steps in his new venture. His new venture is as a pyro. No, he's coming out here to really study things, take a closer look. He has his wand here. He's thinking, what would happen if I put it into this flame? Let's see where I want to go with this. Let's figure things out. Let's think this through. So yeah, and then over here with the Page of Swords, he's got his kite in the air, and he's gonna see how it functions and the science behind it and all of that. And the same with these two, how is this going to grow? And I want to be a gardener. So, just very simple explanations there. But the book is, or this little guidebook is just putting it perfectly. I will read one more to you and then we will move on. So the Page of Wands, it says, wands and fire speak directly to the fire and passion that deals with spiritual growth and how that manifests in our everyday lives. Often this is represented in terms of career growth and strength of beliefs and personal values. The Page of Wands show us how we have, this is where it got cut off. show us how we have or need to embark on a new career or open up new doors leading to new values and strengths in our lives. This may show us where we can begin to come to life again after a long period of stagnation as well. So it doesn't look like it cut off too much. I can get the gist of what it's saying, so that's good. Okay, so again, they're giving you a really good basis to the card. Explanation, not even a basis. They are explaining this card fully to you. They went into detail about the quartz. They went into detail about what the page itself represents, not just Page of Wands, but the pages themselves. I'm in love with that. All right, so now let's get on to... I'm assuming they did all of the quartz that way. So we're probably going to have all of the knights. Yep. So I'm going to pull out the knights for us as well. We have the Knight of Wands. So just like our Page of Wands that had the flame depicted on there, now he has grown. It's not just a little tree. And you know how he said he's going to light his wand on fire? It wasn't too far off, because look, he did. He has wands lit, and it's like he's in more control of it now. I love that. And okay, so they're dressed in the same coloring. I'm going to say it again. I really wish, I guess if that's my only critique of this deck, it's doing pretty good. I wish that our wands guy was dressed in red. But maybe because he is dressed in white, maybe that helps the flames pop. Who knows? Okay, so the Knight of Swords. So we have graduated from using a little kite to depict wind here for us, and we have full-on flags. And he is looking in the direction of where these flags are being blown to. Love. And I love that his horse, or all of their horses, are dressed up in the same color as they are. Oh, see here, it's not just some little puddles now. He is at the source with our Knight of Cups. He is at the source. He's at the waterfall. He is ready. He's in full armor. He can take on what is coming his way as he moves forward in his venture. And here with our Knight of Cups, no little pot with a little plant in it anymore for him. He has full on little trees growing down here, and still with his shield or coin that he's holding. So there they are, all laid out. Let's see what our amazing tiny little guidebook has to say about the knights. Okay, knights. Knights talk about the next stage of personal growth, the action stage. Yep, which is why they are like in armor. So like I said, for him, they're ready. They're ready to take on whatever comes their way. When we have already begun to move forward in a new direction, we must then commit ourselves to the amount of work necessary to make it happen. Yes, because just like any of this, it's going to take a lot of commitment and work to keep things up. Maybe he's making sure the water stay nice and clean, or that the sea life is maintained healthy. That takes work, and growing things. So I really like the way they word everything here. Knights depict us in a stage of movement and effort, and if we pursue it with vigor, we will benefit with positive results. If we are not seeing movement occur, we may need to reapply ourselves with renewed energy. So that's what it says about knights, and just like with the pages, I'll read what the Knight of Wands says, and then we'll get to the queens. Knight of Wands. Again, with wands, there is fire energy. And now this energy sees us moving forward with greater passion, conviction, and strength. Our career may be moving along more quickly. Our sense of what is right may be growing more solid by the day. We feel much like the fire that begins to burn more brightly. Each step along our path gives us more energy to keep going. What we are pursuing is self-justifying. We see our efforts and we know they will pay off. So, wow, this is amazing. I would love to see what they could do with a real book, like a hardback, or it doesn't have to be hardback, but a big book. That would just, I think that would be amazing, because I really like the way they word things and the way they get the message across. Brilliant. All right. So now let's take a look at our queens. We have the Queen of Wands with all her candles lit, all those flames lit behind her. She is in full control. Here is the Queen of Swords. These look like, what is that big, oh my gosh, I know what it's called. It's there on the tip of my tongue. Organ? Is it an organ where you, like a piano, not an internal organ, like a piano with these, all the pipes and stuff. That's what it looks like, except when looking really close, it looks like they are strings. I don't know. We will read on that, because I was thinking organ because of air, you know. The Queen of Cups. I love this with those gorgeous fountains behind her. I am an earth sign. I am Taurus, but I am so drawn to water. I love water images, and yes, love that. Okay, and then our Queen of Coins here. So Queen of Pentacles. Look at all that growth she has behind her. The Page and the Knight has really put all of that into action, and now they are in such control of this element. Queens refer to the stage of growth where we begin to see our efforts come to fruition. And yes, definitely. I mean, look at the abundance that they have. Though we are not complete in our growth, we can finally start to see some validation of where we are going and what we are doing. Queens show us something of what is coming, so that we can feel confident in continuing. Often when queens come up, we may have thought we are finished and relaxed, where in truth we need to keep working because we're not quite there yet. So you're almost there, just not quite. All right, so I wanted to read about the Queen of Swords. Let's see what they say. Often a very misunderstood card, the Queen of Swords is not about bitterness, but about learning to use our judgment from our past mistakes and not fearing our ability to reason our way through a sticky situation. When she comes up in a reading, we must be careful to draw our boundaries before we allow a person or situation to make us feel as though we are being encroached upon or pushed into something we don't agree with. Ugh, this one's really cut. I thought it was well. We may fear to trust our judgment, but we have learned from the past of our intuition. And our intuition is sound. So it didn't touch on what those are, but I'm thinking like organ because of the whole air element. Okay, so look at our King of Wands here. I mean, he is definitely confident, sitting up there with flames roaring all around him. Look at that flame behind him. I mean, it is really roaring up and coming out of what looks to be a huge fireplace, a beautiful ornate fireplace, but he is not scared. He's sitting there all relaxed, and he has learned how to uniquely control that element. I love that. Here we have the the King of Swords, and we have this windmill here. So this, I'm assuming, is supposed to be the air whooshing through this windmill, making it spin. So again, complete control. Yeah, because you can definitely see this looks like water until we see actual water. And you can see, because this right here, the edges of them look like how they were depicting clouds uniquely, like under the sun and for judgment. So yeah, so this would be wind. Come on, focus, please. Okay, so this is wind. He has completely harnessed this element and is able to maybe even supply an energy source from the wind. Okay, so here with the water we have, what is that called? not a windmill, like a water wheel. It looks like a water wheel. So it almost feels to me like they are harnessing in these elements to gain power and like run things off of that, right? Don't you get that feel? King of coins. Look at the abundance just overflowing, just all around him. I was trying to see what that was, that orange and blue thing back there. Can you see that? That was throwing me off. I guess that's the stand that is on. They should have put a big tree, is what I would have liked to see, but they kind of look like a whole bunch of pomegranates, huh? Or apples. That looks like candles on his head. His crown looks like candles. Okay. Kings. Kings teach us where it is in our lives that we have maxed out the growth in a particular sector. When we see a king, we have completed the growth we needed in a specific area, and now it is time to move forward in new directions. If we persist in remaining where we are, we will see no further growth occur unless we change direction. When a king comes up in a reading, often you may need to play the role of the teacher to pass along what we have learned. All right, so let's read about the King of Wands. Similar to a jar that can never be emptied or a road that never ends, the King of Wands sees us as always idealistic, always ready to aim for something new and exciting. We are not flighty, however, but we can find it difficult to find true satisfaction in our successes because we feel we need something more. A sign of the born... I wish this wasn't cut off. The born performer or teacher. This card can show us that to reach our true happiness, we must take what we have gained and bring it to a whole new audience. Sorry, it's cut off, so it's tripping me up a little bit. So yes, love. So now let's get into these Pippi minors. Okay, so we're starting with... Why would they start us with coins if... I can't. No, I'm just going to go in order. I was going to stop and put them in the order I like, but then if I did want to read from the book, I would have to look for it, and I'm not going to be that picky right now. So here is our page of coins, and on the coin that each suit of coins was carrying, it had the same image with the rats on it. I don't know what the meaning be or why they chose to put rats on the coins. Let's see if we can find that out. Now, I know that rats are supposed to be really intelligent creatures, but I don't know. Let's see if it tells us. So, the numbered pip cards. Coins. The ace of coins shows a heavy gold coin with a pattern of mice. Oh, sorry. They look more like rats to me because their tails seem super thick and long. But mice. A pattern of mice on it. And there is a family of mice perched carefully on top of the coin. The element of earth and the material blessings and abundance brought with it are a part of this card, and new physical energy and prosperity will be coming into our lives when we see this come up in a reading. May also refer to a new job or home. Okay, so all they do is touch on the fact that there are mice on the card. They don't say why. I guess they just picked an earthy creature that kind of go with the whole cat theme. I guess is that stretching, or does that make sense? Kind of makes sense to me, the whole cat and mouse thing. So maybe that's why there's mice on them. And again, in the background, we have the backing of the card. So, okay. All right, so this is what I saw that I just absolutely loved. So instead of there just being 2 coins on the card, we have a little window here that's going to further depict the meaning and the feeling of the card. I'm going to show you close up in a minute, but see, instead of just 3 coins, we have something here again to kind of further help us along. I like that one. Okay, so let's get into it. So if you are a reader or you have any basic knowledge of the tarot, we already know that the Two of Pentacles is about finding our balance, like right off the bat, basic meaning, right? And so if we take a look in our little window into the meaning here, I like that it is a black background, because for me, like in my mind, what I'm imagining, what I'm seeing is that this opened up, the card opened up, and it's showing us a deeper meaning. It's taking us inside this card. That would be one way to look at this. And inside of this little opening here, we have again a very serious, they're very stoic, their faces, a cat here, and he is juggling these balls, or not so much juggling it, but balancing it. He has one on his head, so he's really working out how to balance all of these little balls that he has. So see what I mean? Pip, but not pip. I absolutely love it. So now let's look at the 3. Maybe I should read on what it has to say. The 3 of Coins is a card that demonstrates our skills or abilities in mastering new challenges. We are capable and confident, and we must remember that we can conquer anything if we remember that we take what we are given and make the most of it. It may be time to learn something new. So that's perfect. So the 3 of Pentacles is all about building our skill, building towards our future, putting in the work to better ourselves and to continue leveling up, whether it's learning something new, like a new skill, going to school, just whatever it is, to move us forward, building that up, building our skills up. All of a sudden, we have some glare going on. I don't know why. You know what? I didn't even touch on that about these cards. These cards are not very glossy, but they're not matte. So, I have this here to compare it to. So just like typical cardstock, they're typical US Games cardstock. They are not high gloss. They're less glossy than these even. So not as matte as, say, the like the Disney decks or the fandom decks, like the Nightmare Before Christmas or the Alice in Wonderland villains, even the horror tarot, or so yeah, I don't know how to just, it's not shiny, but it's also not so matte, so it's like a semi-gloss. So in our little opening here, to deep dive further into this card, we have this cat that is learning to play an instrument. And that takes dedication, it takes patience, it takes time. You're not just going to pick this up and be able to play immediately unless you're some savant, right? But it's going to take dedication, time, perseverance. You're going to have to find motivation when you're lacking it on your own to push through and be able to perfect this. That way, in your future, in your personal future, you can play this excellently and feel pride. Okay, so I like that. All right, now here we have the 4 of Pentacles. And in our center space here. So, excuse me, again, if you know the basis for the 4 of Pentacles, it's either telling you that you need to pay attention to your finances, or that you're being a miser, you're being greedy, you're stashing, you're thinking negatively about materialism because you're just hoarding everything, right? And look at how wonderfully this is depicted within our little window here. And also in our little windows is where we have our Roman numerals. And we see this cat standing in front of this door with all of these locks and all of these keys in his hand. How many locks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So they put the appropriate amount of keys I like details like that, simple details. So while the background isn't doing anything to give us a meaning of the card, it's just beautifully, ornately decorated. It really pulls in that vintagey feel of the olden tarot styles. But this tiny little picture does more than enough to give you something, not to give you something, to give you everything really about what this card is telling you. Even if you're a seasoned reader, there are seasoned readers that have such issues reading pip cards because it's not easy, especially with straight up pip cards like this, just the number of pentacles change with no color differentiation between the cards to really bring in that dramatic feel. And they give no indication on what the card is about. You really just have to remember what 4 of Pentacles means, what 5 of Pentacles means. So these are brilliant. I just am in love with this deck. Okay, so here we have the 5 of Pentacles, and I mean, just by seeing this alone, what are you getting from this? Are you getting happy? Are you getting just like jubilation and yay? No, you are getting this sad, hard times. The tree is bare even. I mean, even that they thought of. It's not just a tree, it's a bare tree. It's raining on him. His clothes look like they're all scratched up and tattered. You really get the sense of sorrow. You get the sense of struggle in this card. So here we have the 6 of Pentacles, and right away we can see that this cat here is dressed all nice. He is giving to this cat over here that's reaching out in need, and look at the clothes depicted just on that little bit of sleeve that you see. It's all tattered and torn and old looking, and you totally get the meaning of this card. Give and take, giving to those who need a little something extra, charity, all of that in this minimalistic picture. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Look here. There we go. In the 7 of Coins, you see he's got this little hoe in his hand, and he is tending to his plants, to his garden here. So, the more work you put into something, the more growth you're going to see and the fruits of your labor, and you're being able to rest and really admire what you've been putting so much of your time, your effort, and your work into. So, again, perfect. Should we read on some of these? I haven't been reading. This is our 8. There you go. We see him reading. Okay, I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. The neighbors' kids are insane. They are... Actually, it's 3 houses down this street that let their kids literally just run out when they want. They house hop, and it's extremely dangerous, and it makes me feel bad for the children because they are very little and they don't know any better. And the neighbor over here has very aggressive dogs, highly aggressive dogs. So whenever I hear that the kid's out, I'm always... I can't focus because I'm watching. If those 2 dogs get out, they could easily kill one of these kids. I mean, they are vicious. They have ran me into my house before because they come at you. Anyways, I'm sorry. That really distracted me. And then, what if cars are not paying attention? The drivers aren't paying attention. Your kids... I can't. Okay. I'm bad with Roman numerals. Okay, so that's 8. I am learning, though. I'm noticing that I am identifying them a lot easier. Okay, so we have a little cat here with a book and a candle. Let's see what it says. The 8 of Coins is a card of hard work and applying ourselves fully to our goals. We are rewarded based on the amount of effort and energy we expend toward our outcome. Much like the scholar preparing for a test, we will do as well as we are prepared to do. We will finally begin to see results of our efforts. So yeah, that's perfect. You got to put in the time, you got to put in the effort if you want to grow and fully flourish. You want to read about this one? Like I was saying about the little farmer. It says the 7 of Coins depicts a small but fruitful, that may be a small vine, but it is very fruitful. A small but fruitful harvest that is possible when we carefully evaluate where it is in our lives we are applying our energy in a positive way. Instead of feeling sad that we only have a small harvest, we begin to see that we have everything we need and nothing goes to waste. And yes, so there you go. Just a little read up. Oh, look at him. Everything is a-okay. Oh, I thought he was giving like the everything's okay sign, but no, he's holding. Oh my God, why? Can you hear those kids outside? Just running down the street. No cares in the world. Parents nowhere to be seen. Okay, I'm sorry. Nine of Coins. Nine of Coins indicates our abilities to build our own abundance in life by accepting all that life has to offer. When we do not immerse ourselves too deeply in our ambition and allow ourselves to stop and smell the roses. I love that is in this. I say that so much in my readings, like that one saying so much. I'm like, people are going to get tired of hearing this. Anyways, stop and smell the roses. We can find much greater physical fulfillment and balance. It is up to us to embrace those things in life that make us happy. Those kids are really distracting me because I worry. See, they have the red roses, and she's looking at that red rose there. Okay, now we have the 10 of Pentacles here. Oh, I love that. He's having his crown put on him. He looks very thankful. Everything is going good. All right, so that was the Coins suit or the Pentacles suit. Totally got the whole earthy vibe from the depictions. Here we're moving into Swords, and we have a bird, and that's great because that definitely portrays air. Oh, we have two birds. It's really dark, this card. Even in person, it is really dark. Oh, look at the handle of the sword. There's two up here, the two heads of the bird. I love the style of art in this deck. I love how these birds are drawn. So let's move into, oh, and there is, just in case you're wondering, there is no title on this card. There's no name. Nothing says Ace of Swords or anything. So, but I mean, it's very obvious, but I was just letting you know. Okay, so Swords. The Ace of Swords depicts a fairly simple sword, but it is flanked by two beautiful birds of paradise. They are beautiful. Creatures of the air. It is air that governs the mental powers described in the cards of this suit. The Ace of Swords signifies new breakthroughs in situations of entanglement, often with legal clarifications or opportunities for learning and advancement. A message or new information will be coming. Okay, so this is very typical Rider-Waite even. So I love the two beautiful swords back here, keeping the same sword as the ace. So we're going to keep that sword throughout. I like that. I like the consistency of that. Here we have a blindfolded cat with the two of swords held out in front of him. Here we have the Three of Swords, one of my most favorite cards to look at in decks. I don't know why. It's not like it's the happiest of cards. It is not a happy card, but it's just one that I really love to look at. We do not have a heart in this, but it does look as though she could be stabbed in the heart, stabbed in the chest. So that totally tells you what's going on here. But let's take a look at what it says. The Three of Swords shows us great pain, emotional pain, and betrayal that is close to our hearts. If it does not, in fact, break our hearts, I'm sorry, this is cut off. Yet we are often the ones holding on to this pain. When this card appears, it is our responsibility to let go of the anguish and the past and move forward with our lives. Four of Swords, also a typical image here. He's resting. The Four of Swords demonstrates a fatigue that comes from the stresses and battles of various situations we may face, while simultaneously showing us that the way beyond them is to hang up the struggle and take rest for ourselves. We must spend some time away from these situations in order to rejuvenate ourselves for another day. Yes, I feel like this is such a parent card. If you are a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, and we've got to take care of ourselves so that we can fully take care of those around us. Yeah. All right, so then we have our Five of Swords, and you can tell here that one character is holding all the swords and the other one is saddened by this fact that he doesn't have any swords. So maybe there is conflict there, and let's see what it says. The Five of Swords often deals with unfairness. Yes, that is totally conveyed here. Such emotions on these cats' faces when they want to. It's perfect. Unfairness in situations we find ourselves in. One thing to realize, however, is that sometimes we identify with the person who is on the losing end, and yet sometimes we are on the winning end. We must consider where we stand in a given situation, and then how we may empower or balance this to come out where we need to be. Okay, it sounds like these children are literally in my front yard. One time I caught them right at my car, like behind my car, and I didn't know what they were doing, and I had to like nicely but kind of sternly tell them to go, because I don't want them coming over here and getting hurt, and then the parents who don't watch their kids to begin with come in. I don't know, just it's a mess. See how distracted they have me? Okay, so this is 6. Yeah. Oh yeah, 6. Okay, I was too busy trying to look at the Roman numeral instead of actually looking at the picture. Just look at the picture, Krystal. Okay, so this picture shows him in a boat, which is perfect because that's like the stereotypical picture that we see of them in the boat, moving away from troubling situations that no longer serves you. But it is a card telling us don't take them with you, or you're just going to be like in this hell loop and doing it all over again. So yes. Oh, look. Oh, this is perfect. Look at this card. We have a cat here. With, oh my gosh, why? Oh, now it's not focusing on anything. There. Sorry, you guys, my camera is being very problematic today. There. Okay. So, we have this cat with such a guilty look on his face. Like, what? Huh? I didn't just eat that canary that's from a swinging cage, and there are the feathers. That is so perfect for this card, deceit and things like that. So let's read on it, shall we? The Seven of Swords shows where a personal victory has been gained, but it may be best to keep it to oneself. This is not about confrontation or battle, but rather ingenuity and creative problem solving. What we do to take power back from ourselves from a situation may leave us feeling like the cat that swallowed the canary. Okay, so nothing about deceit or anything. Yep, I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, Eight of Swords depicts a situation where our perspective is that we are trapped, imprisoned. Look at his face. But look at the key right there. Do you see the key? This is usually the card that we see with a character with their hands tied behind their back. Not even tight, though. They could get away if they wanted. And look at that key hanging right above his head. He could so easily free himself, right? So trapped in prison and able to move or make choices regarding our personal freedom. However, much like the key that swings here out of sight but right under our noses, we may be all that stands in the way of leaving the bad situation. And yes, that's true for a lot of us. It's easier said than done to just get up and go. We could be standing in our own way by making excuses or yes. This is so. What do you guys think already? Or I mean, so far. Are you in love with this deck like I am? Do you absolutely love how brilliant it is that it's a pip deck but not? Or that we don't have a full page depiction of what's going on? You know, a full page depiction. You know, like these. Why is my Ace of Bats upside down? I love it so much. Okay, here we have the 9. Shows our anguish and worry over those struggles in life that hang over our heads. We wait, never knowing whether they will fall or remain hanging indefinitely. Our fear, however, comes from feeling a lack of control over our own outcome in these situations. So we must look to where we can regain control. He's like, oh no, don't follow me. Ugh, look at this one. All those swords in his back. So the 10 of Swords is the culmination of all the negative energy contained in our present situation. However, it is also a sign that once we have hit rock bottom, there is nowhere to go but up. Whatever has been hanging over us has not only ended, but often has been over for some time, and we must recognize this and finally release it for good. We can take comfort knowing that it is taken away. Knowing what is taken away makes room for new beginnings. So, yep. Okay, now we are getting to the Ace of Cups. Again, it's not labeled or anything, but we get that. Oh, at first I thought this fish had teeth looking at the screen, but it's just the way the background image is. At first glance, it just looked like it had some crazy teeth. So a big cup surrounded by all the fish. We have 2 of Cups. And we have our 2 cats here. Oh my gosh. So again, that's perfect and showing us the card meaning. The 3 of Cups coming together. We're all on the same page. We're happy. We're working together. And we're going to keep the same image of the cups. Oh, look at this. So again, our like stereotypical art depicted in the 4 of Cups. You know, you're being offered this cup, but you're too either self-involved or bored or distracted to really even realize that, you know, are there real problems, or are you being petty? Are you taking things for granted? You know, because you're losing out on opportunities coming your way. So that is perfect. And here with our 5 of Cups, again, he looks upset and sad and just like defeated over the cups that have spilled. But if he would just open his eyes and look, he's not completely out. He still has 2 cups upright, and he could rebuild again. Not all is lost. You just can't get caught up in those bad emotions, because cups is our emotions. I didn't read to you that, did I? I didn't read the Ace of Cups. So the ornate cup, the icon symbol for the suit of cups, is shown in the Ace of Cups as an ornate chalice resplendent with an intricate fish design, which represents the element of water and depths of emotion. The ace symbolizes new emotional beginnings. A new person or situation will be encountered that will bring us great joy and new blessings. This may signify a birth or a marriage. So yeah, he was totally just ignoring that, and I haven't read any for a while. Should we read on some of these? So this is the 6 of Cups. This shows us in its simplest form the joy of sharing. We ourselves benefit when we give the gift of kindness. A lesson learned back in the lighter, happier days of childhood. This and other blessings from the past are free to come to our memories once we have put grief and sadness behind us. We gain the ability to look back and see only the positive side of what we have experienced. So this is that card of like nostalgia. This is thinking of the past, memories, and can also be like a warning of it's okay to think about the past, but especially with hard situations in the past, don't get stuck there. Don't allow yourself to relive them to the point that it brings you down now in the present. Here is our Seven of Cups. Oh, why? Won't it focus? Okay. Oh, I love it. Okay, Seven of Cups. So, the Seven of Cups is usually depicted with the 7 cups just floating in front of our main character, and each cup is full of something different. New, different choices, different possibilities coming to you, and yeah, very, very cute. Here we have a dragon with like what looks like a little castle, a cat with a mask, and some coins. So they're hard to see a little on this one just because it is dark and those are small, but you can clearly get it. Okay, and here is our 8 of Cups. So this is him saying, you know what, I'm done with this. This is not serving me anymore. I'm not happy from this situation anymore. I'm getting rid of it. And he is throwing all those cups in what looks to be a well. He's done. He's walking away from that. Here he's got all the cups around him. We have great success, fulfillment. He is as happy as can be, surrounded by all his cups. He's got a little hand that's going, yay! And here we have our family that looks very happy and content. The little child has like a rose. It's a nice sunny day. They're looking lovingly into each other's eyes. Very nice. And now this should be our last suit, I believe. Yeah, it feels like the last suit. And we are going into wands. Here we have what looks to be, maybe it's supposed to be like a salamander. Ooh, look at all that detail. Oh, I love that. All right, the Ace of Wands shows a beautiful ornate wand topped with what appears to be a crystal egg, a symbol of new beginnings. There is a salamander, or lizard snaking his way around the wand, showing its connection with the element of fire and the powers of spiritual regrowth and renewal. A new idea, career, spiritual path, or creative venture will open up for us. So this actually covers like a lot of new things coming. It's new everything. Very pretty. Very pretty. I love that. And here, oh my God, I love it. I mean, come on. This is the Two of Wands. And if you know anything about the Two of Wands, he's literally looking at a map. This is mapping out, I think it's this card over here that it's wanting to focus on. Yes. He's literally mapping out his next move. He's taking a pause from everything. He is alone here in this picture because he really wants to go in depth and take the time needed to study up on where he wants to go, both literally and figuratively. He wants to map out his next move and just, make sure that he is sure and what is that called? I'm missing the word here. Confident in his next move and his venture. So here you see we have the Three of Wands, and I don't know. I'm covering the whole background. There we go. And now the planning stage is over, and you have gained the knowledge and the insight of what you were looking at before, and you have gathered up what you need, what you planned for, to go forth and actually do it. So love, 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 love. Here we have the Four of Wands. Four of Wands is all about, like milestones in life and celebration or coming together, something new coming in. So we get that with the Four of Wands in the background. This is like, I would say, the busiest of all of them. I think the wands are the busiest, illustrated in our little window here. So they're together at this like gathering, at this party, whatever it is, and they're celebrating. It could just be you celebrating and acknowledging a job well done. It doesn't have to be, you know, like a birthday party or something. It could just be like, I aced my test. Let's celebrate. Why are we not focusing at all now? And I haven't read anything from the wands. Oh my God, seriously, please just focus. Why is this happening? There we go. Okay, so let's just read one since we haven't read for the wand suits yet. The 4, I read the 4. Let's read on the 5 because that's the card we're on now. The 5 of Wands, there is obvious challenge. Oh my God, okay. There is obvious challenge, struggle, and yet the challenges which are holding us back often are coming unexpectedly. The chaos may be rooted in something we do not understand. Often we are snarled in something that is not our battle, and we might do well to step aside rather than become embroiled in conflict. So try to take the high ground if possible. Communicate clearly your side of things. No point in fighting about it. And now we have our 6 of Wands, which is, you know, victory, a job well done. You have succeeded at something, and they did a great job at portraying that. He has a medal around his neck. He's holding up this, what are those called? A laurel? Is it called a laurel? He's holding it up in victory, and he's happy for this stage in his life. People have seen his good work and gifted him this medal and this laurel, and are probably applauding him right now. And here we have the 7 of Wands. So this is all about having to defend yourself, stand your ground, stand up for your beliefs and your convictions. And yeah, I think they did a great job again at portraying that. He's grabbing onto his wand and he's keeping the rest at bay. Oh, I like that one. So this one, the 8 is change, things moving swiftly. It could also be a message or, yeah, some news coming in, and you get that with this bow and arrow with a little message on the end of the arrow. I don't know why my card is struggling. My card. Ugh. My camera. Look at their faces. It just looks like they're so sick of fighting. And yeah. Breaking barriers, finding your strength you didn't even know that you had. Oh my gosh. And here's the last one, the 10 of Wands, and clearly depicted simply and beautifully. He is trying to, I am trying to cover the entire back, and it's like it's gotten worse. Nothing has really moved. Trying to carry this big package on his back all alone, and you can see the struggle on his face, but he's doing it. The determination is there, and you're almost there. Don't give up. So that is the Medieval Kat Tarot. Minimally depicted minors, pip cards. Okay, so I don't know if I went over, there are 2 spreads in the back, the court card curve and the short but sweet spread, which does not look that short, being that there are 12 cards in that layout. All right, so oh, I am so happy. I'm just so happy with this deck. I'm happy to have it in my collection. Okay, so after this process of going through each card and really looking at them, I will now cleanse my deck and then thoroughly shuffle them. But now that we've gone through everything, I've been dying to actually shuffle this deck and see what it shuffles like. Oh, so nicely. Okay, there are not many cards that come even close to shuffling like my Tarot of the Cat People deck. The only one that I would say is pretty good is also this one. I'm so glad that I pulled this one because it's been just a great comparison, I feel, for each point that I have been wanting to make. This one is, it's so nice. They are so smooth and slick, but not in an annoyingly overly slippery fashion. If you know what I mean, you totally get me, because it's aggravating when the decks are overly slippery. This one is, it just seems, wow, I've never had somebody flip like that. This one just feels good. It shuffles amazingly. I do not riffle shuffle, bridge shuffle, none of that. I am strictly a overhand shuffler. But I'm sure these aren't like overly thick. I personally, I like thick cardstock because I don't have to worry about them not riffle shuffling well. So I am kind of a cardstock snob. I like thick cards, like the Tarot of the Divine and the Phantom Wise Tarot. Those are some really thick decks, and I love it. Nothing should be thinner than this deck, nothing, and they are. Like, I've noticed that Los Scarabeo decks, oh my gosh, those are really thin. Actually, also the Llewellyn, the Darkwood Tarot, oh my gosh, those are too thin. I love that deck so much, but wow, are they thin. So yes, so they shuffle so nicely. I love them, and I'm just gonna lay some out so we could see like what they would look like in a reading. Okay, you know what I have noticed with this deck is that when I'm shuffling, I get a lot of cards that are flipping mid-shuffle. I only get that every now and then with other decks. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that they're skinnier, but you would think that since they are skinnier, I wouldn't have that issue because they're thinner, so less possibilities of them hitting each other. I don't know, that's interesting. It's interesting how each deck has their own personality in so many different ways. So yeah, usually I'll cleanse my deck and then I will thoroughly make sure that they are all shuffled really nicely, and that I don't have any that are still in order. But let's just lay them out so that you can see what they would look like in a reading. They are not very colorful cards, so let's see what that would look like. It does a good job, I feel, in not being a vibrant card, a vibrant deck again, like this one is. I mean, this is a very, very vibrant, over-the-top, cartoony deck, right? I freaking love it though. But this is more deep, dark, dramatic coloring. But they did a great job with those bright reds and those bright blues. And I really like that there isn't like horrible yellow backgrounds, stuff like that. So, okay, I would like to pull more minors. There we go. Instead of so many majors, so we can see what those pips are going to look like. That's actually a nice layout, isn't it? It gives us a great look at the majors and the minors. I would like a, let's pull a cup from the cup suit to go up here, since we have cups, pentacles, and swords. All we would need are our wands to go down here. There we go. So that is what the cards are going to look like laid out. So a very mellow deck. You're not going to be overcome with pictures on the cards, but while the inside of these little windows, as we'll call them, are very minimalistic, the cards don't really look minimalistic in a layout like this because of how much detail there are in the backgrounds, as like low-key as it may seem, because we have the background. It's not just a solid background. We have that card backing in the background there. Then we have the vines with the leaves. Then we have however many you know, like for this one, the coins would be 6. So it does feel busy in this very ornate border. I mean, these borders are very ornate, I feel. It's not just a single border. There are the piquitos at the top, like the points here at the top. It reminds me of like the old-fashioned wrought iron fences. I mean, gates. I have fuzzy on my pointer here. And then we have these, whatever those are, like petals or dots around. And then our next here, this actually to me looks like a cat with wings, doesn't it? With like in between flames. So it's a very busy card while staying pip and minimal, in my opinion. So there you go. I would love to know your thoughts on this deck. How do you feel about it? Do you like the way they gave you a little window into the card while keeping it pip style, or do you just not like that at all? I think that it adds to the uniqueness of this deck. So many decks are either straight up pip or they are full pictured cards like this. So yeah, what I like that it isn't just one or the other, because I'm sure some people are like, well, just be one or the other. Well, I like that it isn't, because it adds uniqueness to this deck. This deck offers something that none of my other ones do. So thank you so much for watching in with me, and until next time, nothing but love. Bye.